This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. Well, praise God, and thank you, Lord. Welcome to this session here. We have taught you basic typing. We taught you I want to review the typing modes, but we're really going to now get into how do I edit the text that I've typed? How do I proofread? How do I fix errors, spelling and otherwise? And so I'm going to create a note to do this, and then we're going to teach you the Notes app as well, somewhat today and then continuing on Wednesday. If you're not familiar with the Notes app but you want to practice editing, you could use Messages for now or something like that as well. I've got my phone here and we're going to get into Notes pretty quickly.
Notes. Double tap.
Okay.
Notes. Edit button.
We're in Notes. Now, I will teach you about Notes a little bit later on, and one of the things you'll learn with Notes is that we can have folders to organize our notes, right? It's just like all the other great apps that Apple has. It syncs with iCloud. It's very well organized. And so we're going to teach you all that. But right now, I just want to get to a blank note.
Shared. Call recording.
So I'm going to go into a folder here.
TTJ 200 selected. TTJ 239 notes. John and
All right, and again, we're going to teach you how to do that, but I already have a folder created, and I'm going to create a new note. The new note button's going to be at the bottom right. It's usually either at the bottom right,
toolbar, new note button,
or sometimes the top right of the screen, but in this case,
folder actions button.
The top right has a folder actions button for the folder that we're in. So we're going to look at the bottom right,
toolbar, new note button,
and we're going to create a new note.
Double tap to compose a new note. New note. Note. Text field is editing. Character mode. Insertion.
And I'm just going to put a quick
Messages.
quick title here, and
dismiss.
We'll call this class
space
test.
cap T.
I'm pretty sure I've used that title before, but it doesn't matter.
Slash.
And I'll put a colon in there.
New line.
And I'll put 2 blank lines. It's always a great idea, especially when you are a VoiceOver user, that you put 2 blank lines between anything that's going to change. If you're formatting text, if you are, wanting to bold something or whatever, those 2 blank lines just give you some assurance that you're not going to be making a mistake and applying formatting to the wrong text and that sort of thing. Again, we're going to be teaching you all of this, but I want to start with a quick review of the typing modes. You'll remember we demonstrated these typing modes to you. There was standard typing, and in standard typing, everything you type is the same as everything else you do with VoiceOver. You tap once to select an item and then double tap to activate the item. And so if you are on the keyboard on screen, if you tap on a letter one time, it brings focus to that letter. And then if you double tap anywhere on the screen, now it's going to insert that letter, that character. And we showed you the numbers screen and the symbols keyboard. We talked about the emojis, and we talked about dictation, of course. And so all of those things apply. We then talked about the other typing modes. There's touch typing, and then there's direct touch typing. Touch typing is, remember, where you tap on the screen, and when you hear the correct letter that you want, then you lift your finger and it inserts that letter. Direct touch typing is basically as though VoiceOver were not even turned on. You still hear the speech, but everything you type, it immediately gets inserted. If you hold your finger down, it doesn't. So if you need to, if you realize quickly enough that you wanted to type, let's say, an H, but
Cap J.
Oh, I landed on the J.
Juliet.
As long as you leave your finger on there for a second, you won't type it. But if you lift your finger, everything you type.
Cap O. What space? Joy.
See, we just typed the word joy, and we just very quickly tapped each letter, and we'll delete them now.
Whoa, Cap J.
Okay, so that's direct touch typing. There's also a mode called slide to type or quick path typing, and we really didn't do a whole lot with that. I personally am not a fan of it. Now, it is accessible. It does work with VoiceOver. And if you want to try it, you have to be in touch typing mode, okay? Not direct touch, but touch typing. And I really believe it was people who saw it and heard about it on Android devices and they wanted it on Apple devices. Now, that's just my opinion. I can't speak for Apple. I don't, to me, it's basically what it is. Slide to type uses a combination of autocorrect and quick type or predictive text, and it learns your behavior, and so it suggests words as you're typing, and the idea is you don't have to lift your finger. If I want to type HELLO for hello, I put my finger on the H and I hold it down, and I'll get a little haptic prompt, and then I can literally slide my finger up and to the left to where approximately where the E is, and then down and to the right to where the L is, and up to the O, and even if I'm not exactly on, it's going to make the corrections, and VoiceOver will speak what it's inserting, and when you get the right word, you can lift your finger, and I suppose there's some people who really like this. To me, that's a whole other thing I would have to master, which I could do if I spent the time doing it, praise God. But for me, it's just as quick to use direct touch typing, because that's just like, that to me is super easy. I praise God, He's given me a talent with that, and I've worked on it, and I really feel good about it, and especially on the iPad, but even on the iPhone, I use direct touch typing. So I don't see the need for the slide to type or the quick path typing, as it's also called. And if you want to play with that, by all means, you can. Again, just make sure you're in touch typing mode and that you have slide to type enabled from your settings, keyboard settings. But I'm not going to spend time demonstrating it. So we know those are the typing modes that are available to us. And once we've typed, we know that it's important to review and edit what we've typed, right? Fix any errors. We want to make a good impression, especially if we are in the job market. And allow me, please, I know over the years that I have perhaps offended some people with what I'm about to do, and I apologize, because that's not my intention, but I need to be truthful with you about this. And so allow me to climb onto this soapbox for just a moment here, okay? And I'll try and make it quick, but it's super important. I don't think you can over stress this. There is a sort of stereotype that tends to precede us, right? As blind people, or people who are blind, if you want to be politically correct, where we are maybe thought of as not able to do as much as our sighted counterparts, right? And so what we need to do is we need to do everything we can to, discourage that notion, and we need to do everything to help ourselves. And if we're in the job market, for example, it's just simply not going to be acceptable to say, well, there are errors in my typing because I'm blind, or there are errors in my typing because I use dictation. And I've seen people do that. They put in, the bottom of their, maybe the footer of their emails even, they say, please excuse any errors. I'm using dictation. And please understand, I'm not criticizing you as a person if you do that. God loves you. I love you. I'm sure that you're a wonderful person. But don't do that. All right, just don't. It really just promotes the stigma, and you're really selling yourself short. And I'm asking everybody, if you're in this class, please don't do that. Instead, learn to type properly, and even if you're going to use dictation, remember to go and back and edit your dictation. Learn how to edit. And once you learn how to properly edit, you don't have to say, excuse any errors, because you can fix the errors. Now, Does that mean we're perfect? Of course not. I've still made mistakes. And sometimes, especially when I'm texting a friend, a family member, something like that, I'll be honest with you, I don't bother to read back what I've dictated, and I send it, and then I read it back and I think, oh my goodness, I actually did make an error. And that's what the edit message feature is for then, right? When we send a message, we can go back and we can edit that. And so I've done it. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, right? We're all works in progress. We all do it. But try and make an effort. And especially with professional documents, if you have to email a business or if you are searching for a job and you're trying to, or you have a job, but you're trying to communicate with your boss or, a team of people. Or even if it's, something like you're sending out a newsletter or board meeting minutes. And then if it is personal, if it's family and friends, just think about it this way. You're going to make things a lot easier for them if they can actually read what you typed. So it's still a great idea to edit what you have typed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to spend some time looking at how we review the text and then how we edit the text that we type.
Text field is editing. Class test character mode. Written new.
There's my note. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type some. Let's see. This is
a demonstration of space the space.
Remember that you can do 2 spaces to immediately apply a period and a space. Again, if you're using the on-screen keyboard, that's called the period shortcut. 2 quick spaces here.
Space.
And you'll look back, it put a
period. Space.
A period and a space. So I'm still typing some more here.
S. Let's. Space. Keep. Typing.
Now you notice there I typed an R, but it fixed it. There's autocorrect. I highly encourage you to leave that enabled. You hear the little bubble sound that indicates that something is being corrected or suggested. So I'll show that to you again in a moment, but let me put a period here.
Space. Period. Typing.
Let's put 2 blank lines.
New line.
All right, we're going to say, how is everyone doing today? But I'm going to type some wrong letters and see if it'll correct them for me.
Cap H-I-W.
Okay, I typed H-I-W instead of H-O-W. I heard the little bubble. If I look above the on-screen keyboard, like above where the letters U, I, and O would be, if I'm having trouble finding it that way, I can find the Q and start swiping to the left. But I'm going to go up here.
However, selected, how Q, however, selected, how, he.
Okay, notice it has 3 options there, he, however, and how, and notice that how is already selected. So what that means is that's going to be auto-corrected because it knows that H-I-W is not a word, and so it thinks I want to type how. If it is correct and I really do want to type how, all I have to do is either press the space bar or insert punctuation, like the period or the comma. So if I press space right now,
how,
it put the correct word in there. Now, what if I really didn't want the H-O-W? I really did want H-I-W. Well, one of those options up there probably actually was the H-I-W, and it just was pronounced differently. But I could have looked up there, found which one it was, and then double tapped that to select it. Or I could delete now, and it would give me, if I press the delete key, it would give me the option to revert.
Space.
Okay, you heard the little bubble. So up here.
Honestly, how? High toolbar, but how? Honest hope. Q.
Okay, it actually doesn't have. It doesn't have
Use the rotor return W.
It doesn't have the original. I guess it's pretty convinced that that's not a word, and of course it is right. It's not. So
space how.
All right, we'll leave it as how is.
S space is WV.
I put a WV instead of EV.
E-R-Y-O.
But I've put the rest of the letters, and if I look up above here.
Attachments, handwriting, you, everyone's. Selected. Everyone.
It's already going to put everyone. I didn't even finish the word, but it already has that. So if I press space,
Everyone.
now we're going to keep typing.
D-O-Ing.
And you heard when I typed D-O and then it said ing, that means it already wants to insert doing. So I don't even have to keep typing. I can just press space.
Space. Doing.
And it's got it right. And now like if I type today.
T-O-D-A.
You heard when I got to the D, it said A. That indicates A-Y. So all I have to do is go here.
Question mark, today.
And it put the right word. Let's say something like looking forward to hearing from you, because I think it will put more than just a few letters in there automatically.
New line, cap L.
I'm going to type slowly so we can hear when it happens.
O-O-K-I-N-G, space, looking, F, forward to.
Okay, F-O, and it puts forward to. So press space.
Space, forward to.
Hearing.
H-E, ring.
It's got hearing already.
Space, hearing. F, U.
From you. It's already got it. So put a period.
Period, U.
There we go.
New line.
All right, we're going to type another sentence. Let's type that famous sentence that includes every single letter of the American alphabet.
Cap E,
The
space,
quick.
E, Q, U, S, K, N, O, E, N, brown.
Brown fox.
X, space, fix.
Now that one is fix. I'll show you how to fix the word fix and turn it into fox. So we're going to just keep going. Jumps over the lazy dog.
O-G, period, dog. New line.
2 blank lines. Of course, we have an error to fix there, but that's what we want. We want to fix that. Let's do some dictation now. And I'm not even going to use punctuation because it should do it on its own. But I want to show you how to review that and listen for it. Hello, everyone. We are continuing to teach dictation and text editing. It is very important to review the text you've typed because it will help your documents to be presentable and professional. Do you think you can do it? I'm confident that you can. With the right training, you will be able to edit your documents successfully.
Inserted. Hello everyone, we are continuing to teach dictation and text editing. It is very important to review the text you've typed because it will help your documents to be presentable and professional. Do you think you can do it? I'm confident that you can. With the right training, you will be able to edit your documents successfully.
Now, that did very, very well, praise God, with putting in the punctuation that it should have. I can tell that already because of the way that VoiceOver read back what it inserted. But I also know there's one problem, and I can fix that myself. If you listen to the way that it said, I'm confident that you can with the right training, it didn't put any punctuation there, or there would have been a pause. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to insert the period that should have been there, and then I'll have to make the W of the word with uppercase, because it won't be uppercase right now. Since it didn't have a period, it will not have known to capitalize the W. Now, when I'm dictating, I could have actually spoken the punctuation, but I wanted to show you that you really don't need to in most cases. I also wanted to show you that it's important to listen back in case there is a situation where you do need to fix it. If you had wanted to, you could have said, you know, do you think you can do it? Question mark, I'm confident that you can, period. Yeah, you could say those things, and it knows to insert the punctuation that you speak. You can say new line, which will put a blank line in there. If I want to, I can say new line, new line. So all of these things are doable. So now we're going to start looking at how we edit, or at least how we review first, and then eventually how we edit this text. I'd like to remind you first that you can quickly jump back and forth between the beginning and the end of any document, text field, or edit field by simply double tapping with one finger on the edit field. Now, we really have to start talking about focus. I want to remind you about focus, and I'm not talking about focus modes like do not disturb. I'm talking about the focus of the VoiceOver cursor. You might remember that early on in this course, we taught you that you use the voiceover cursor to navigate. And that's that rectangle that folks who are sighted can see, and that rectangle kind of surrounds whatever item has the focus. And so, for example, when you swipe left and right on the home screen, when you hear, App Store, clock, TV, books, each one of those icons that you hear, as you hear it, that rectangle moves to that item. So that item now, we would say, has the focus. It's really important to understand focus when you are starting to do more advanced things, because if you don't, you will experience a variety of symptoms that will to you seem unexplainable, or they'll seem like perhaps a bug or something. One of the most famous ones I get from people is, well, I tried the magic tap to start dictating and it didn't work, or instead it started to play music or something. Well, that's because you don't have the focus of the voiceover cursor in the right place. When you're starting to work with edit fields, it's very important to know where the voiceover cursor focus is at any given moment. If it's in the wrong place, you're going to get the wrong results. And so I mentioned to you that you can toggle your position from the end to the beginning, back to the end, back to the beginning, and so forth within an edit field or a document by simply double tapping. But the question is, where do you double tap? So your focus, in order for that to work, has to be in the edit field. It cannot be on a letter of the on-screen keyboard. It cannot be outside of the edit field. It has to literally be that you touch the edit field. So if I touch up near the middle of the screen, just above the on-screen keyboard,
Note.
You hear it said note.
Note. And text field is editing. Class test. This is a demonstration.
That's where I want to be to do that double tap to toggle my position. So now if I double tap once.
Insertion point at start.
And again.
Insertion point at end.
And again.
Insertion point at start.
You get the idea. So we can quickly jump, but the edit field has to have the focus. You've got to have that voiceover cursor in the right place. Now, when we're going to start navigating, I also want to point out that the rotor may look different depending on where the focus is. Certainly if the focus is outside of the edit field, it's definitely going to look different. But also there may even be differences between what happens if your focus is in the edit field itself, or if your focus is on a key of the on-screen keyboard. Sometimes even that will cause the options in the rotor to be different. So if you start turning the rotor and you think to yourself, I know this should be here, but I don't see it, try the other option, like whatever you're on right now. If your focus is in the edit field, try touching a key of the keyboard on screen or something. Let me demonstrate this. I don't know if it's going to be different right now.
Battery.
Now, if I'm not in the edit field at all,
TTJ back button.
I'm there. My rotor.
Live recognition, toggle live regions, vertical navigation, headings, containers, screen recognition, words, characters, live recognition, characters.
See, that's very different, right? I don't have edit, I don't have anything like that. But now let's touch the edit field.
Note, dictation and text edit this note, text.
And I can even swipe left and right to make sure I'm in the edit field. Now let's listen to the rotor.
Misspelled words.
Oh, we got something new.
Swipe.
Misspelled words.
Edit.
We've got edit.
Live toggle typing mode, vertical navigation, headings, containers, screen recognition, text selection, lines, words, characters.
So, as I can also touch a key of the keyboard. As a direct touch typing user, what I like to do is just
return.
Touch and hold the return key for about a second. That makes sure I don't inadvertently type anything that I don't want to, but it does let me put focus on the keyboard. And I think that the rotor options should be essentially the same there in this case as they were in the edit field. That may not always be the case, but I think here it is. I was turning the rotor left or counterclockwise. If we turn it to the right,
words, lines, text selection, screen recognition, containers, headings, vertical navigation, typing mode, toggle live recognition, edit, misspelled words, characters.
Okay, so same deal. So that is what's in my rotor. Your rotor may look somewhat different. Remember, the rotor's dynamic, so it definitely looks different if you're not in the edit field. But if you are, this is what you might see, or you might have other things. I've taken a lot of things out of the rotor. I've added some things. I'm going to take that live recognition and toggle live regions and announcements. I'm going to take that out because I've found not to really be necessary. It was a new feature, some new features in iOS 18, so I wanted to see what it was like to have them in the rotor and if I would use them, but there's other ways of doing live recognition and so forth, so I'm going to remove that stuff at some point, but the rest of the things I do want in there. And so if you're not hearing text selection, misspelled words, you can go into your rotor settings and you can add those items. They're going to be important. Now, you might remember that if we set our rotor to something like characters or words or even lines, when we swipe down with one finger, we're going to move to the next character, the next word, whatever. And when we swipe back up, we're going to move to the previous, character, word, line, whatever. But it's really important to understand how this cursor works. When you move up and down with one finger like that, you are moving the voiceover cursor, but you're also moving not only the voiceover cursor, but also the insertion point. In other words, the system cursor where you type. You are moving the insertion point. And so what we really have to do is we have to make sure that we understand where the insertion point is going when we move.
Cap C.
And what VoiceOver will do is VoiceOver will always read whatever item the insertion point passes over. Let me say that again and then I'll try to explain it. VoiceOver is always going to read whatever item, whatever character, whatever word, or what have you, that the insertion point is passing over. And this is a bit different if you are used to working on, let's say, a PC with JAWS or something. This is entirely different from how that works, and so we really need to understand this. Now, the analogy that I like to give is of a group of people, because I think this helps to understand a little bit. Let's suppose that there is a row of us sitting together, maybe on a couch or maybe at a table, on chairs or stools or what have you. And we're all sitting together, we're having our sodas, our lemonade, our coffee, whatever, and we're sitting together, Cliff and Sarah and myself. So there's three of us. Let's say I'm on the left, and let's say Sarah is in the middle, and let's say Cliff is on the right. So she's either a rose between two thorns or a thorn between two roses. I don't know which. Now, when you walk up to us, you're going to start walking back and forth from left to right. And you're going to first pass by...
Screen dimmed.
Excuse me there. You're going to first pass by Matthew because I'm on the left. So you pass by and you say my name as you walk by. You say Matt. Now you go to the right. You say Sarah because you've just now passed her. Now, if you walk back to the left, what's going to happen? Well, the answer is you're going to pass by Sarah again, just going the opposite direction. So when you were going right, you passed by Sarah, and now she was on the left, and Cliff was on the right. But when you walk back to the left, you passed by Sarah again, but now she's on the right, and Matt is on the left. Well, this is kind of the same as the rotor works with the voiceover cursor and the insertion point when you are navigating within an edit field. So let me show this to you. I am set to characters, I think.
Cap C.
Yep.
Charlie.
Now, if I begin to swipe down, it's going to read what I pass over. So it's first going to read the C in the word class. Remember we said class test. That was the title. Swipe down with one finger.
Cap C. Charlie.
And I get the phonetic. Now, where exactly am I? Well, my cursor, my insertion point, is positioned between the letters C and L of class. And if I want to hear that, I can actually swipe away from the notes edit field and back to it.
Return. Emoji. Return. This note. Text field is editing. Class test. This is a demonstration of the Notes app. Let's keep typing. How is everyone doing today? Looking forward to hearing from you. The quick brown fix jumps over the lazy dog.
Remember, we got to fix that.
Hello everyone. We are continuing to teach dictation and text editing. It is very important to review the text you've typed because it will help your documents to be presentable and professional. Do you think you can do it?
Something else we got to
I'm
fix here.
confident that you can with the right training.
There you go. Now listen to what it's about to say, though.
Successfully. Character mode. Insertion point between cap C and L at the second position.
See,
Actions available. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
it actually tells us exactly where the insertion point is, between C and L at the second position, and that's exactly right. So if I continue to swipe down with one finger, moving by character, I'm going to hear each letter that it passes over.
Add link. Activate.
I got to set it back to characters because when I moved the voiceover cursor, it automatically set the rotor to actions, where we can add a link to our notes. We'll teach you that later, but let's just go back. Probably if I touch the on-screen keyboard, it would automatically go back, or I'll just turn the rotor.
Characters.
All right, so now we swipe down. You're going to hear the L.
As test. This is an A. S. Space. Cap T.
Now, where am I?
Tango.
I'm between the T and the E of test. So if I swipe back up, notice I'm going to hear the T again.
Cap T.
But where am I?
Tango.
I am between the space and the letter T. I'm just to the left of the letter T, just before the letter T in the word test. Let's go back up to class. Space.
Space. S. A. L.
Okay, where am I? Because I'm swiping up. Well, I am actually between the C and the L of the word class. If I swipe down,
L.
now
Lima.
I heard L again, but because I passed over it again, but I'm actually between the L and the A. And if you want me to prove that, I'll add a letter in here just for fun, like an extra couple of A's.
A Q.
Oops, I added an A and a couple A's and a Q. So now when you listen to the word, listen to how it's spoken. We'll set the rotor to words.
Words. Cloak. Misspelled. Cloakus. Misspelled.
See? So you know that I added, and you know what? We're gonna leave that way because I want to show you how to fix spelling errors too. Now when you move by word, it's the same deal. As you swipe down,
Test colon.
you are after the word test right now. And actually, I think you're after the colon also because it read the colon. So that means we passed over it. So we're just after the word test. And if we keep swiping down.
This body, 17 point, not bold, system font regular.
And that's really cool. VoiceOver, praise God, will read the attribute changes. It tells us this is body text. It's not bold. That would indicate that we had bold text in the title. And that's true. Well, again, we're going to teach you all of that. But it's good to know VoiceOver reads that. So let's keep swiping by word.
Is a demonstration.
Now, where are we? We're right at the end of the word demonstration. If I wanted to put a period there, for example, that's exactly where I'd put it because I'm right after the letter N. If I swipe back up,
demonstration.
I'm right before the letter D, right after the space, and I'm right before the letter D in the word demonstration. And then the same thing if we said it by line.
Lines. Demonstration of the Notes app. Let's keep typing. How is everyone doing today? Body. Indentation level 0.
And I'm reviewing my text and I say, I wonder if there really is a question mark there. Let's make sure there is. Well, the way we would do that is set the rotor to characters.
Word characters.
We know that we just heard the word today, so we should be able to just swipe up one time and we should have
question mark.
Yep, there it is. There's our question mark. All right, let's go back to lines.
Words, lines, question mark. Looking forward to hearing from you, body, indentation level 0.
Let me make a misspelling. Let me make a spelling error here on purpose.
Look at words. Cap L Z I or ang miss forward. D.
Let's do
Delta E.
Okay.
Word forward misspelled.
And that would be red underline, but you heard VoiceOver say it.
Forward misspelled.
All right, we also did
Looking misspelled.
Okay, so we'll fix those later. Let's go back
lines.
to lines.
Looking forward to hearing from you. The quick brown fix jumps over the lazy dog.
All right,
body.
so
Indentation level 0.
Let's start fixing. So we know this is not supposed to be the word fix. It's supposed to be the word fox. So what's going to be the easiest way to fix the word fix? What I would do here, I heard that it's wrong in my review, okay? what I would do is I would go, in this case, to the beginning of this line.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
I would now set the rotor to words. We're slowly narrowing here.
Words.
And I'd swipe down.
The quick brown.
Okay, now I could either go one more time to make sure that it really is wrong.
Fix.
And it is. And I could actually set it to characters now.
Characters.
And I could swipe up.
X.
Okay, so I'm just to the... Now listen, I'm just to the left of the X. Okay, you understand that. I am between the O... Well, it's not an O, it's an I. I'm between the I and the X, okay? So, ready? If I press delete right now, it's going to delete that I, which is what I want to do.
I.
Okay, and now I'll type in O.
O.
And now, let's go to words.
Words.
And swipe up.
Fo.
And swipe down.
Fox.
And you hear that it's correct. Let's read the whole line.
Line. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, period.
Okay, and now... Apparently that sentence is too long to fit on one line, so dog is on its own line. Well, that's fine. You know, we're not going to worry about that. But here's what I want to do now. I want to keep going. See if that's our blank line.
Hello, everyone. We are continuing to teach dictation and text editing.
We know there's
very
an error coming up here.
Important to review the text you've typed, because it will help your documents to be presentable and professional. You can do it. I'm confident that you can. With the right training, you will be with the right.
All right. Now, don't be deceived by that, because it sounds proper because it was on two different lines. But remember, we heard it read all together. We know it's not correct. So let's go back to characters.
Word, character, space, N-A-C.
I'm swiping up.
Charlie.
So let's swipe down. Can.
C-A-N, space, W.
C. Okay.
Whiskey.
So we're going to delete the W and the space.
Space.
Put a period.
Period. Can.
Put a space.
Space.
And put a capital W.
Cap W.
Swipe down.
I-H.
Now it looks good.
Words. W-E. Can period. Can period. W. Space. Right. Right. Training. You will be able to edit.
Okay. This all looks good now. So, let me now teach you, well, let's see. There's one word here that's sounding funny, and I think it's because sometimes when you dictate and then you try to fix a single letter of something dictated, it sounds funny.
To, able, be, will, you, train, right, E, W, E.
It's saying W, E, but I think if I look at it...
Characters, cap, W, I, T, H.
It's actually correct.
Hotel.
But let's just delete the word and retype it.
A-T-I, cap, H.
Just so we're sure.
A-H. Word with.
Yep, there we go. All right, so that's with. So this is a little bit of how you... Now remember, we have an experience lab on this next week, and it will be important to try these things out. I could do this for a long, long time, or I could keep moving, and I think I'm going to have to choose the latter of the two options because we have so much to cover. But I do want to make sure that you understand how easy this is to edit. Now, what I'd like to do next is I'd like to go back and I'd like to fix those spelling errors. Now, if I run across one when I'm reading, like let's go back to the top of the document.
Note, text field, insertion point at start. Add link.
Okay, we'll turn to...
Characters, words, Glaucus.
Okay, well we know that's wrong right off the bat.
Glaucus, misspelled.
We don't have to use the spelling feature to fix that, right? I know I can manually fix that very, very easily by just looking at this.
Characters, cap C, L, A, Q.
Okay.
Q, A, S, A.
Still 2A. Okay, now we're good.
Words class, test colon.
All right, so that's easy. But what about if I'm not sure where else the misspellings are? Well, that's what the misspelled words option in the rotor is for. Now, the way you use this thing is you put your VoiceOver cursor near the top of the document, and you set the rotor to misspelled words. Then, what you do is you swipe down until you hear the next misspell. Well, let me rephrase it. Every time you swipe down, it takes you to the next misspelled word. And if you swipe back up with one finger, it takes you to the previous misspelled word. So you're going to swipe down one time, and it will take you to the next misspelled word. Then you will swipe left or right with one finger to choose a replacement, and double tap when you find it. So let's try this.
Character, action, misspelled words.
All right, let's...
Swipe left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
It even tells you that. So let's swipe down.
Looking, selected.
Okay, that's supposed to be looking. Let's swipe to the left or to the right.
Looking.
Only one choice because it just knows, so let's double tap.
Looking, unselected.
All right, let's swipe down again.
Forward, selected.
And let's swipe to the right.
Forward, forwarded. Forward.
We want forward, so double tap.
Forward, unselected.
Now if we swipe up or down, no more, because there are no more misspellings. So that's how easy it is to correct spelling errors. Now, should you run across a word that is so badly misspelled that it just can't find a replacement, it says there's no replacements available, or maybe it doesn't have the one you wanted, here's a tip for you. When you swipe up and down, when you're set to misspelled words in the rotor, every time you swipe up or down, whatever word it speaks that's misspelled, that word is currently selected. It actually selects that whole word for you. So if you swipe left and right and you don't hear the replacement that you are looking for, or it says there's no suggestions available, then what I would encourage you to do is just have another go at it, because the word is already selected. So just try again to spell the word a little bit differently, and hopefully either you'll spell it correctly, or at least it'll be close enough now that you can use the misspelled words option and find a replacement that way. So that's how you use the spelling feature in Notes. Now, in some apps like Pages, there's also a replace option in the edit menu if you are reading and you just want to do an individual word. And I'm not sure if that's... I got to think whether that's true. Let's try it here once.
Actions.
Because I'll be honest, I don't remember.
Word forward.
Let's misspell this word again.
F-O. Oscar. Double word. Forward. Misspelled.
All right. I think if I select this word, which I haven't taught you how to do yet,
forward lines,
but I'm about to.
Text select word. Forward line word character actions misspelled edit cut paste replace.
Yeah, there is a replace option, and so if you
format but note tap check tap handwriting high tool forward Q forward. F-O-R-E-W-O-R-D forward. F-O-R-A-R-D.
Just double tap that, and that fixes it too.
Format.
So let's see.
Text D. Word for forward. To hearing.
Right. So you can do it on an individual word by selecting the word and then using the edit rotor, and there's a replace option in there as well. So that's another way to fix spelling errors, without doing the whole global spell check of sorts. But I want to teach you now how to select some text, because that's another important thing, right? So let's say that I want to select part of the sentence that says, well, let's go here.
Lines. Quick brown fox jumps over the lazy.
Okay. How about we want to say, instead of quick brown fox, let's say, I don't know, let's just do something really goofy. Let's be silly. Let's say the short red bird, okay, instead of quick brown fox. So we need to select 3 words here, and the way we'll do that is with text selection in the rotor. I mean, praise God that Apple added text selection to the rotor, because before that, what we had to do was put 2 fingers on the screen, and we had to pinch and spread our fingers, and the more you spread them apart, the more it would increase what was selected. And our sighted counterparts do that, but it's a little bit trickier when you're trying to do the voiceover cursor and you can't see it, and it just was a bit of a challenge. It wasn't as precise as this text selection option. If you don't have text selection in the rotor, go ahead into your settings and add it in there. And so the way this is going to work, you're going to position the insertion point and the voiceover cursor before the first thing you want to select, just above it, just to the left of it, really. Then you're going to turn the rotor to text selection. Now, you're going to swipe up or down to choose what you're selecting by. Are you selecting by character, by word, by line? What are you going to select by? Once you do that, you're going to swipe right with one finger to increase, and swipe left with one finger to decrease what is selected. And it is really as simple as that. It probably sounds more complicated than what it actually is, so I'm just going to show it to you. We want to select Quick Brown Fox.
Return. Text select lines, words.
Set the rotor to words and go back up here.
U period.
Okay, we're actually before it already.
U period.
So,
B, quick, brown, fox.
All right, let's go up.
Fox.
With one finger.
Brown, quick.
And we know the voiceover cursor and the insertion point are just to the left of the letter Q in the word quick. That's exactly where we want to be. If I wasn't sure, I could set to characters and, go down, go up, whatever. But I know it's right before the Q. That's where I want to be. So I'm going to turn the rotor now to text selection.
Lines. Text selection. Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection.
And I know now that if I swipe up or down with one finger, it's going to change what we're selecting by. So let's swipe up.
Character selection.
There's characters. Let's go down.
Word selection. Line selection. Page selection. Select all.
See all those choices?
Word selection.
We're going to go to word selection, and I'm going to swipe right 3 times. Quick Brown Fox. I'll actually pretend that I select too much. I'll swipe 4 times.
Quick. Select brown. Fox. Jumps.
Whoops.
Selected.
I don't want jumps selected. So let's swipe back to the left.
Jumps. Unselected.
Okay, now we deselected jumps, but Quick Brown Fox
Bottom of screen.
is still selected. So what we're going to do in this case is we're just going to type over it because we want to say short red bird, remember?
S. Selection deleted. A-O-O-T space O-E-D space I-O-D.
Let's read. We might need a space there. Let's see. Go to characters.
Words. Character J.
Yeah, we do. Go back up.
J.
Space.
Juliet. Space. Bird.
Let's read this line.
Word. Line. The short red bird jumps over the lazy dog.
Okay, there you go. So that's how easy it is to select some text. And once you've selected text, you have a lot of other choices too. So let me just select some text again, just to show you what the other choices are. Like,
text selection.
Okay, we are already on words, I think.
Expand select space. Hello everyone. We. Hello.
Okay, how did I get
lines? Return new line. New hello everyone. Dictation and text editing.
Oh, I know what happened. I was at the end of that line. That's right. I forgot I said hello everyone a second time. I was in the right place. Let's do that again. Let's
the short red bird
go up here just so we know.
Text selection.
Swipe right.
The short red bird selected.
Okay, now I just want to show you what else you can do while your text is selected. We can go over here to the edit option of the rotor. We can turn the rotor.
Lines, words, character, misspelled words, edit.
And let's look at what's in edit by swiping up and down.
Share.
We can share that portion.
Writing tools.
Writing tools, I'll show them to you in a bit.
Undo. Make checklist item. Set bold. Set italic. Set underline. Set strike through. Increase indentation. Decrease indentation. Copy. Cut. Paste. Look up. Share. Writing tools.
Okay, now I'm going to deselect this. So what I'll do is press and hold the return key for a second.
Return.
I'll turn the rotor.
Live recognition. Edit. Misspelled words, characters.
And I'll swipe up 1 time.
The short red bird, unselected.
Or you could have swiped down. But I wanted to make sure I deselected so I didn't accidentally type over that. In the edit rotor item, you heard a lot of stuff. Now, that's not always going to be in every app. It depends on how the app is set up. So the Apple apps are really good about that because Apple has taken the time to put all that stuff in the rotor. But I would also point out there's other ways of doing that stuff than just using the rotor. So like adding, bold to your selected text or making a checklist or increasing the, those things are in the format menu. I'm going to teach that to you probably not till this Wednesday, but we are going to teach that. That's all part of the Notes app. It's also part of the Pages app. All of these skills that you're learning here. We don't really do a lot with Pages in the iPhone course. In the iPad course, we hit it hard because I'm actually a huge fan of Pages. Trainer Sarah is a huge fan of Pages. Trainer Clip. We all use Pages, and it works great. And so we do spend a lot of time in there in the iPad course. I think we have 3 sessions dedicated to Pages usually in our iPad course agenda. Not so much in the iPhone course, simply because we're really trying to focus on the basics. But I would encourage you that these skills that you're learning today and that you're going to learn on Wednesday will absolutely transfer over to the Pages app if you do want to start using it on your phone right away, or on your iPad, or even on your Mac for that matter. But not every app is going to have all that stuff in the edit rotor, okay? So what you're seeing there is rather unique, but some of the options like copy and cut, so if I wanted to cut that text and then I wanted to paste it somewhere else. Now, when you want to paste text, you don't have to actually select anything first. You just put the insertion point wherever you want to select and then turn the rotor to edit, swipe up or down until you hear paste. Paste will be available even if nothing is selected. Then you just double tap to actually paste the text in there. So we could try that. We could copy. Oh, let's see.
Or bird. Red bird.
How about
Red.
How about we select the word red, and we say that the short red bird jumps over the lazy red dog. So let's select the word red.
Lines. Text selection.
And I
Swipe
will.
right to
I think I'll actually use characters.
Character selection. R-E-D. Selected.
So I've only selected the letters, not the space. And now I'll turn the rotor to edit.
Line or edit.
And I'll find copy.
Look up, replay, paste, cut, copy.
Double tap.
Red, copied.
Okay, now let's go to
return, cut, copy, misspelled characters, red, unselected, or bird jumps over the lazy character space.
All right, we're going to paste right there. But actually, what I'm going to do, because I didn't select a space, you remember that? So,
Y.
There's the Y
Yankee.
Of lazy. Let's put another space there.
Space, lazy.
Let's turn the rotor to edit.
Return, misspell, edit.
And swipe up or down.
Select, scan, paste.
And paste. Oh, scan text. That's another one that's really cool. I'll tell you about that later. But there's paste. Let's double tap.
Red.
And there was already a space after it, so...
misspelled words, characters, space, D.
So now if I read this line...
word, dog period, the short red bird jumps over the lazy red. The dog period.
And it takes 2 lines now, but that's okay. So we've now pasted the word red in there, so we've shown you how to copy, how to cut, how to paste. I mean, cut and copy are really the same process. It's just that cut will remove the text from the first location, whereas copy won't. But it's the same process. And then we've shown you how to fix spelling errors in a few different ways. We've shown you how to select your text, and there are some shortcuts that sighted users get, that they can do things through menus that appear when they select text and so on, but also there are some multi-finger gestures, and I actually had created some before with VoiceOver, although I don't know that I have them active at this point. But there are other ways, but this is the most straightforward, probably the most consistent right now for you to learn, which is using the rotor. On larger screens, or if you have your phone in landscape mode, or certainly on the iPad, there's typically a paste button above the on-screen keyboard, so you don't even need the rotor in that instance. But it is possible to use that. But here with the phone in portrait mode, we do use the rotor to get to paste most often. Now you heard look up, so you could look up selected text in the dictionary, kind of like we did in Apple Books. You heard scan text.
Screen.
And what that does is
return.
That actually is OCR. If I had, and I didn't prepare that today because I wasn't even thinking about it, but if I had text on something that I want, I mean, I could use my iPad or something, but just explain it to you. When you choose scan text, it actually allows you to use your camera to detect text on different objects or paper or a sign or whatever, and it will put that into in this case, the note as searchable, editable, real text, not just as an image, but as actual text. And so that's a pretty powerful feature as well. That's a feature called scan text, and you may find that really useful. That also works in the Photos app. When you actually take a picture, you can detect text in photos and so on. But in this case, it's called Scan Text, and that actually, anywhere that accepts text, you can do that. The next thing that you need to understand is part of making your documents professional is not just the fixing of errors, but it's also formatting them in a way that's going to be not only eye-catching, but easily manageable for the sighted reader, right? So if you are sighted and you sit down to read a book and you know ahead of time that it's a novel, it's a book that's, 200 pages, 400 pages, whatever, then that's what you're expecting. And you're going to sit down and probably read that. Now, some will do a better job than others. Some will miss things. Others will get every detail. But that's a separate issue, right? But you basically know if you're going to sit down and read a long book, that indeed it is a long book. So you're prepared for that. But if you're sitting down to read a website, to read somebody's resume or bio, to read a Facebook post, to read an email newsletter, the generally accepted wisdom is that people don't want to read something that looks like a long book when they're sitting down to read that kind of thing. They have to base their decisions on something. And if you have, 85 job applications, right? Or if you're trying to read a website really quickly, on the train or at the coffee shop, and you're not intending to sit down and read a whole book, you need to have a way of managing that so that it tends to be that the sighted user goes towards what stands out, right? And so what happens for us who are blind or visually impaired is that we hear a screen reader read and we have to listen because that's how we understand things. And so we don't think about it in that same way, but when we write, we have to make sure that we separate things by formatting them in a way that is eye-catching so that the sighted user can benefit from them. So what we want to do is we want to learn how to make use of attributes like bold and italics and centering. And then we're also going to learn on Wednesday about text styles or paragraph styles. And these are kind of like groups of attributes that are already combined to look good right away. And they have a technical designation within some apps too, so that you can even navigate, for example, by heading or by other means. And so this is all really, really important stuff. One of the new features that was introduced in iOS 18.1, if you have a new enough device, is Apple Intelligence. And if you're interested in that, we're going to cover a little bit of that on Wednesday. But I would also encourage you to check out our YouTube playlist, which I believe was called Apple iOS 18 and more, or something like that. That's close enough that you'll find it, right? It's got iOS 18 in the title. And what I've done is short little tutorials on some of the new features, and there's going to be more to come because it is expected that iOS 18.2 and its counterparts will be released this week, and there's just so much awesome stuff in 18.2, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Can't do it just yet because we have the non-disclosure agreement and it wasn't released to the public yet, but it should be this week, and you're going to really, really enjoy it. So there will be even more videos coming to that playlist. But already we've got videos on the Apple Intelligence features that will work in notes, for example, like the writing tools, like the ability to proofread. And so now not only are we getting spelling errors shown to us and fixed, but we're also getting if there's an extra space, or if there's a space where there really ought to be a hyphen, or something like that. All of these things are able to be proofread, and VoiceOver works great with all of those. We show you how to rewrite, change the tone of things that are written, and we even just uploaded a really cool video the other day that I'm super excited about. What I did was I recorded a short voice memo using the Voice Memos app. Then I got the transcript of that voice memo and copied it into a new note. Once I copied the transcript into the note, I created automatically, Apple Intelligence created a summary of that transcript. And the example that I give in that recording is like if you were in class and the teacher was teaching, and then you want to get like the key points in a note so that you can review them from the audio. And it is just amazing. Praise God. It is brilliant how well that works. And so I would encourage you highly to check out that YouTube playlist as well, and some of those videos.
The thing that I wanted to add or piggyback off what you said is, disabled, handicap. To me, we have too many tools to even use those words. I mean,
Right.
maybe if you have dexterity and you have to dictate or you have to, okay, I'm not trying to rain on nobody's parade, but I just think there's too much accessibility and too many tools at our disposal to even claim to the disability, handicap, blind card, whatever you want to call it. So,
Right.
yeah, can we not see? Of course we can. But I don't think it's something that we should use as a crutch or an excuse or a hurdle that gets in our way because there's too many things like you explained and like Sarah has emphasized with correcting your text or making sure punctuation is there or reviewing something before you send it. There's just way too many tools that I don't think that that's words we should be using in our vocabulary when we have the tools that we have at our disposal now.
Now that we have these Apple Intelligence writing tools, I recently had to do a bio for a presentation that I was going to be doing, and I had an existing bio that I just updated and modified. And sometimes even when you have sighted users proofread something, people will miss things occasionally, because your mind fills in gaps and so on. So I went back and I used the Apple Intelligence proofreading feature, and I found a few little things that I didn't, and it was like an issue of this should have been hyphenated or this, just very small things. But I thought, man, this is really, really cool.
Now, you said that voiceover will insert punctuation where is it necessary, but also when you were dictating, you made some pauses in significant places where punctuation belonged. If you hadn't made those pauses, if you had just rambled on with that sentence, would that punctuation, spaces, period, and everything else have been inserted?
I'm laughing because what's funny about that is I don't know the answer to it. And I sort of feel like it's probably, I could see it going either way. I mean, the way that machine learning and artificial intelligence is today, maybe it really does help. You get your, have you ever taken gotten a bowl of ice cream and the ice cream is really cold and you start to blow on it to warm it up? Like it's just a weird thing that your mind doesn't make any logical sense. And I sort of wonder if the pausing is like that. Like it's just me in my mind thinking that it's going to do a better job if I help it out by pausing, or maybe it really does. I don't know the answer to that. But it's funny you say that because I always think about it when I do that. I think, well, is this what I should be doing? I don't know, but it seems natural to do that. So yeah, I've not tried
Yeah.
it the other way. And God bless you, and thanks for joining us. And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.